Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zane here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're just gonna jump into things, and as I've mentioned in the last couple of videos, I've been a little bit sick, actually really sick the last couple of days, which has been unfortunate. It's just kind of put a hamper to my productivity. I wanted to release a lot more videos, but yeah, I've just kind of been in bed and trying to recover, so I am feeling a little bit better, but still am sick, so I do feel bad about that, but we're gonna find our first opponent from Germany, actually, to kick off the episode. And I also want to start my individual analysis series, so if there are any Pokemon that you're curious and you want to see an analysis for, definitely let me know in the comments below. I want to do as many of these as possible. Wolfie Glick's already done a bunch of these, and he's done a great job with them, but I want to start my own series, and yeah, just kind of do the in-depth analyses that I had for a couple Pokemon before. So definitely let me know in the comments below what you would like to see for individual Pokemon analysis. Anyway, our first opponent of the day is rocking a team of Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Garchomp, Celesteela, Gyarados, and Marowak. So kind of standard looking team. You know, we might have already run into an exact core of the 6, but this, like, if there's like 6 common Pokemon that are running around, and these 6 would definitely be on top of the list. So with this team, there are always 2 options. Like, I could go with the Oranguru option or the Logan option. And quite frankly, I think Oranguru is honestly a little bit more consistent. So I'm actually going to go Oranguru and Salamence. And the reason why I'm going with Salamence is I do get the Intimidate off against the physical type attackers, and that could be a big deal if they have a Z move. So taking that into consideration, I'm going to go with Torkoal in the back and Tapu Bulu as my last one. And I will say, I honestly did not play very well in the episode yesterday, both in the first and the second game, but it's one of the reasons why I do Road to Ranked, right? Like, even good players have bad games sometimes, and I don't like to just showcase games where I win, or showcase, you know, really, really dominant victories. Yeah, everyone, you know, misplays sometimes, or just doesn't play perfectly, and I think that's a great learning tool for both myself and the viewers. But obviously the goal is to get as many wins and to you know, do as well as possible, but I also want you guys to learn as much, and I'm learning a lot as I play along with the series, so I will do a little bit better hopefully today, but we'll see about that. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share support by leaving a like in the video. Would really appreciate it. Let's see what my opponent leads with here, though. It is going to be Salamence and Oranguru coming out from my side. That's going to get the Intimidate off immediately, and potential to set up Trick Room. Going to be Tapu Lele and Marowak from my opponent's end, so don't mind this too much. Now, you know, this could look pretty scary, right? Chances are I might even have to sacrifice Salamence, but I'm okay with that because that's kind of what I intended on, honestly. The goal here was to basically get a free switch into my Marowak. Although I could, like, for example, switch Salamence out into Torkoal, expecting a Moonblast. The issue with that is, maybe I should also run Max Speed Salamence instead of Modest, because then that would mean I could, like, get an attack off Marowak and go for the Trick Room. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna Trick Room here and go for the Draco in case, for some reason, he does not target the Salamence with Tapu Lele. Like, we'll probably see a Moonblast on that slot. Maybe a Psychic, though. It could even be a Z move predicting a Torkoal switch in. But nope, just gonna be a Moonblast coming up. Oh, targeting a Oranguru, actually, though. That's really juicy. Draco Meteor does connect as well. That should just be a one-hit knockout. So my opponent may be expecting a Protect from Salamence or a Switch Out, trying to double up onto the Oranguru. Not the case from my end, and I'm going to pick up that knockout. So one of the nice things, that's why I led with Salamence, because this team, it's like, okay, you either give me full 4 turns of Trick Room with my Sweeper, Torkoal, and Oranguru up, which is very deadly, or you allow me to just, you know, pick up a KO and set up Trick Room, and that's exactly what happened there. So, pretty good scenario, especially because this Tapu Lele is now slower than my Salamence on the Trick Room. So I'm pretty good. I'm pretty content about that first turn. You know, obviously still have to play pretty well. It's gonna be Celesteela coming out too, which is not a very fun Pokemon to deal with, but obviously Torkoal is a good option. Let's see. The question is whether I want to conserve Salamence or not, because I kind of want him to just knock me out, to be quite honest. Like, the scary thing is if I switch Salamence out and Torkoal just takes a ton of damage, because that's my way to win this game. But my opponent could also be smart and not target the Salamence slot, knowing that Salamence is kind of useless right now. So I'm going to protect Oranguru here. And I'm just going to Draco Celesteela, hoping that he targets down the Salamence for a knockout. Never mind, my opponent just forfeits. Fastest game you'll ever see in Road to Ranked. And as a result, I will probably do 3 games in this episode. GG. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you should ever give up a game, like, just pretty much ever, unless you are, like, 100% certain it's over. And when I mean 100%, I mean, like, even if you got every critical hit, every flinch, whatever. Like, even if every RNG thing that was possible went in your way, you would still lose the game. But, yeah, my opponent just given up there, so, okay. We will continue the grind. And I'm gonna edit the bottom screen real quick on the overlay in the meanwhile. Just because it looks a little bit off. It's gonna be Robert from Texas for our next opponent of the day, though. Let's see what Robert has. There we go. Robert's got a team of Mimikyu, Alolan Marowak, Goliathbot, Tapu, Coco, Circuitry, and Alolan Ninetales, which we actually ran into the other day. Okay. So, let's see. First things I notice, okay, so Goliathbot, you know, does have first impression. Alolan Ninetales access the hail. Mimikyu could be very, very annoying. Mimikyu, I think, is a really underrated Pokemon. I might actually do an analysis on that, because it has a lot of good moves, like Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, and it's pretty speedy as well. Access to a great Z move, and probably one of the best abilities you could have. I'm tempted to go with Drompa because it counters the electric types a fair amount. I probably still want to set up Trick Room here, though. So, I suppose I'll go with the Oranguru. Actually, maybe I'll just go Lilligant Torkoal, because Torkoal's going to be slower than Alolan Ninetales anyway. And for the back... Alternatively, I'm leaning more actually towards the Trick Room option, where I sweep with Torkoal, Drompa, and Tapu Bulu, because Tapu Bulu just kind of wrecks pretty much everything. So I'm gonna lead Oranguru, Drompa with Tapu Bulu and Torkoal in the back. Yeah. I don't know. I think Lilligant Torkoal is like nice, but it's very hyper aggressive, and it's completely dependent on Torkoal because Lilligant doesn't have very much offensive presence, especially when there's nothing weak to Hidden Power Ice on my opponent's team. So I'm not gonna go with that option. But yeah, I wasn't expecting my opponent just forfeit the first game there, but hey, we take those. But like I said, unless you're pressed for time or something, you really should, you know, try to play out to the end of the game if there's any possibility of you winning. It's gonna be the Tapu Coco Circuitry lead for my opponent. Okay. So this is scary because he could just double up onto a Oranguru for a potential knockout. It's also scary because Circuitry gets access to Tail Glow. Actually, no. I think what I'm gonna do is just Trick Room and switch out into Tapu Bulu so he doesn't get the boost anymore from the electric terrain. Because the electric terrain boost is probably the most threatening thing right now. Even though Drompa's really good offensively against those two Pokemon, maybe I could have protected and Hyper Voiced with Draco Meteor. But the thing is, I really want to try to get Trick Room up turn 1. Oh, he could have the Z move too, though. Or Tapu Koko could have used the attack that just does 50% damage. I think I'm going to switch to Citrus Berry on this Ranger. Oh, okay, Circuitry switches out. So regardless of what happens here, I'm content. Ninetales coming in, okay. So Torkoal is looking really good right now. I'm probably going to want to switch into that. If I switch into Torkoal here, it would have been so good for me. But no, I'm still pretty content. Because Tapu Koko is not going to be able to do too much. I know I'm going to get Trick Room up here because, you know, there's nothing he can do to potentially stop it. He can't knock out my Oranguru with the Tapu Koko. And even if he taunts me, you know, I've got... And he's actually going for the U-turn. Pretty good attack there. Does a lot of damage there. So it does confirm the Life Orb on Tapu Koko. That's good. It's always good to know what items your opponent's Pokemon have. Especially on the first turn on huge Pokemon like that. So Circuitry... interesting that it's switched out. Goliathbot comes in. I actually do not know the speed tier of that. Wow, that looks really cool. So if I get Torkoal in, I literally can just Eruption everything. But how do I get Torkoal in? Like, this next turn, I also want to be able to Instruct. You know, honestly, I'll probably just protect Tapu Bulu and attack with... Yeah, I'll probably do that. And attack with Oranguru. Because even though, you know, Oranguru with Instruct is nice, it's taking some damage, so I want to just use my 3 sweepers. The scary thing, and this is kind of the situation we dealt with in the last game too, is like, you don't want to just switch into Torkoal because your opponent can just take advantage of that and potentially call the switch. Soul Psychic Goliathbot. Actually, Ninetales is more likely, like, that's probably Sashed. Soul Psychic, Ninetales, and protect Tapu Bulu. Now, Gallspot, of course, does get first impression, and I'm okay with that. Because, of course, he only gets to use it once. Oh, no, he actually has Poison Jab, and he does it into the Tapu Bulu. Was not expecting that, okay. That's really scary, actually. That's not good. Oh, he's got Aura Veil, too. Well, I mean, that's not much of a surprise. But Gallspot's really slow, I'm pretty sure. And I actually try not to have any resources open. Like, I never do damage calcs or look up Pokemon information, at least on Road to Rank, typically, because, you know, I like to treat it like it's an actual VGC match where I have to learn on the spot. Although, I suppose in a real VGC setting, like, I should know what these Pokemon fully do. Given that we see Poison Jab, though. Okay. So he didn't first impression. I think the play here is then to protect and to switch out into Torkoal, yeah. So, I do want to conserve my Tapu Bulu because terrain management is really important, especially when you have a Xurkitree and a Tapu Koko on your opponent's side for the last two. That was a really great turn 1 play, though, for my opponent. Wasn't anticipating. Although, I think if you just Thunderbolted and U-turn, could have picked up the knockout. I was not expecting U-turn on Tapu Koko, honestly. Okay, so there's a Protect. Yep, he's just gonna jab again once into Torkoal. Shouldn't do too much damage. Yeah. Let's get the poison, though. Come on. Nah, I'm just gonna Blizzard. But, of course, that's in Sun and Torkoal. Yeah, Torkoal managed to avoid it, actually. So one of the nice things about having Torkoal with Tapu Bulu is actually the synergy of healing up from the grassy terrain, which is cool. So I will probably just go for the Eruption and Instruct here. And for those that don't know what Aura Veil does, it's like combining Light Screen and Reflect, basically. Super strong option. Now, my opponent's played this well because it's already been 2 turns of Trick Room, and I haven't really been able to do anything yet. Like, first turn I had to protect Tapu Bulu, and I was hoping the Oranguru would get knocked out, but instead my opponent made a really good play. Second turn I got Torkoal in, and as no surprise here, Ninetales is going to protect. But what this does mean and he's going to Aqua Jet. Okay, that's not going to do too much damage. Yeah, given that the sun is up. He actually gets a critical hit there as well. So, let's see how much 2 Eruptions will do, because, you know, I've lost half my HP. I didn't want to risk Heat Wave missing. Gallspot takes that really well, wow. Okay, so I'm going to Heat Wave next turn. But it's okay, because it means that that Ninetales slot will definitely be going down, regardless of whether he stays in or switches out. But I'm kind of concerned about the late game. Although I suppose Gallspot will be the slowest Pokemon, so I need to take advantage of that because I've got Tapu Bulu. Yeah, that Gallspot takes that so well. The Poison and the Crit are definitely both unfortunate, but yeah, there's only so much you can do about that. The grassy terrain kind of helping my opponent out too. But yeah, okay. So I'm definitely Heat Waving here and Instructing. I'm not sure if... Aura Veil is just a really good move. Like, I think if you run Ninetales in this format, you should definitely be running that move, because it can only be used by Ice-type Pokemon, I believe. So I am definitely a little bit concerned right now, because Oranguru might not be able to get up a second Trick Room. Although I do have Drampa, which is a big deal. And he doesn't switch out with either, which is promising. Because Drampa can deal with the 2 Electric-type Pokemon my opponent has. I don't miss Heat Wave here either, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's still a clean knockout onto Ninetales there, despite the Aura Veil. That's because Ninetales isn't exactly the bulkiest of Pokemon. And this is actually so great. Yeah, so Gallspot has Emergency Exit, which means it switches out when its HP is down to 50%. So whatever's coming in is going to be taking a single target boosted Heat Wave. And it's Tapu Koko coming in. Hopefully I don't miss. Please don't miss. I hate Heat Wave's accuracy, honestly. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So, gonna get this Instruct off. Let's see if I can connect, because I don't think it'll knock it out, but it'll do a lot of damage. And it does connect. Nice. Oh, that's so much, but it doesn't pick up the knockout. Okay. Trick Room expires. Except Xurkitree now comes in. Oh, no. Gallspot coming in instead. Kind of surprised about that, but okay. Let's see how I want to play this. So we know Tapu Koko is Life Orbed. We know it has U-turn. We know Gallspot has Poison Jab, Aqua Jet, and most likely First Impression. Which means it can't do too much to Oranguru. So I actually could even potentially set up another Trick Room, but I also have Drampa at full HP. So what I'm going to do here is protect Oranguru to avoid any damage, and I'm just going to sacrifice the Torkoal. I guess my opponent could double up into a Rangaroo, which actually would be a pretty good play. But I want to avoid the first impression, which you should have if you're running Gallspot. Yep, there we see it. I'm not going to let that happen. And Wild Charge coming out, that's actually even better for me, because he could just knock himself out from Recoil plus Life Orb. So this is a physical Tapu Koko, which is why I did so much damage. And yeah, from that Recoil, I think the Life Orb will knock it out. Excellent. Nice, okay. So, that's what I like to see. And that does allow me to just bring in Tapu Bulu, which should outspeed Gallspot. Xurkitree is probably the fastest Pokemon on the field. So when you're like ahead, you always, or in VGC, you always basically want to think like, how can my opponent win, even if it looks like I'm in a good position. So right now, a couple things I'm scared of: Xurkitree having Tail Glow. I don't think a Thunderbolt will even knock out my Rangaroo at this point. I am gonna, however, try to set up Trick Room again though, because Xurkitree is still the biggest threat, and I will go for a Wood Hammer onto Gallspot. So the idea here is, okay, he's gonna Aqua Jet. That's fine with me. Yeah, that does nothing with the Sun Up, and a Thunderbolt coming out. Okay. Let's see if that knocks out. Nope, doesn't even pick up the knockout. Nice! Orangaroo's Bolt coming in. We're gonna see the Wood Hammer come out onto Gallspot. Whoa, actually doesn't pick up the knockout. But Trick Room is gonna go up here. And that's the main thing I needed here. Because as Sunlight fades, okay, that's fine. Man, that Gallspot is so bulky, holy cow. I think we should still be fine here though. I do know he has Poison Jab on Gallspot, which is a concern. But I've got Drampa in the back. So, I'm just gonna Psychic into Gallspot here. And protect Tapu Bulu because I want the free switching into Drampa. And Drampa, once it comes in, can just Hyper Voice away. Tapu Bulu is 4 times weak to Poison Jab, so if I get Poison Jab, that's just gonna be a knockout. And I'm assuming he's gonna outspeed me under Trick Room. So, maybe setting up Trick Room wasn't necessarily the call. I thought Wood Hammer would definitely knock out there, though. And, yeah, I was afraid of a potential Tail Glow from the Xurkitree. But, yeah, it's like if the Rangaroo fainted there, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. Let's see if he Aqua Jets again. Like, if Gallspot makes the right call here. That was not... Okay, yeah, he just Poison Jabs into Tapu Bulu. Cool. So, we're gonna get the Psychic off. Does it knock it out? Oh, it's so bulky, jeez. Thunderbolt coming out, knocking out a Rangaroo. That's fine. And this now allows me to just bring in Drampa. I really should figure out Gallspot's speed here, though. I will look that up after this game. Obviously, don't have too much experience facing against it, but no, this game is showcasing how it's a really solid option, honestly, especially against Trick Room teams. But yeah, Drampa's gonna come in now. And I'm just gonna Hyper Voice. And I think Drampa might just outspeed it. So I can just Wood Hammer into Xurkitree. Even if it doesn't outspeed, I think I win anyway, but we'll see. Yeah, okay, there we go. So, like I said, you know, I'm going to be a noob at Road to Ranked in the beginning, but, you know, it's a learning process. So, Gallspot goes down. I learned how slow Drampa was after, I think it was the first episode, where it just, like, got the Draco Meteor off before Alolan Marowak, and I was like, wait, what? As Xurkitree falls down, too. But that was a really fun game, honestly. Like, the Oroville, I mean, it shouldn't have caught me off guard, but I wasn't expecting it, and then the Gallspot was definitely the MVP on my opponent's side. But Orangaroo coming in, able to survive and set up Trick Room twice. So, wasn't expecting that, but yeah. And a physical Tapu Koko, which I actually think is a pretty solid option, because you saw how much damage it did with U-turn. It's just, yeah, my opponent made it a little bit easier on Tapu Koko, not getting another attack off. Maybe he knew, like, from that HP range, I actually wasn't sure whether he could get another one off or not. But as a result, since the first game was so short, literally one turn, I'm going to look for one last battle, and this will probably be our longest episode yet, but no, don't mind that at all. And yeah, it's been a really fun ride with this team, honestly. Like, the loss yesterday, even though it was to a critical hit at the end, I did not play optimally. Like, I remember I was analyzing the game afterwards, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty content with how I played, but then I watched it over, I'm like, what the heck am I saying? Like, I definitely could have played that better, but, oh man, this next game is going to be exciting, because I don't even know what the name of that Sandcastle Pokemon is exactly. But the others, I believe that's a Minior, Alakazam, which I haven't seen at all, Gigalith, Arcanine, Tapu Lele. I believe that's Ground and Ghost type, but I literally do not know what it does at all, because I have not run into it once while I've been playing this format thus far. So that's going to be an experience. But Yeah, the way I kind of learned VGC, I mean, I think the most ideal way is to just play a lot of games and then, like, Google everything. And I actually had a spreadsheet of everything I ran into just to keep track of, you know, like, what can this Pokemon potentially do? You know, what are potential strategies around it? But, yeah, I haven't run into the top 2 Pokemon at all, so that should be interesting. Let's see. I think Tapu Bulu is going to be huge here because it knocks out pretty much 5 of the 6 Pokemon, bar Arcanine. I'll probably want Trick Room support. And I'm going to lead Oranguru. And I'm going to lead Salamence. Yeah, just to see if I can nuke something, or maybe it's the same kind of strategy, right? Where it's like, oh, you give me a free switch and into my Pokemon. Torkoal is still really good as well. And yeah, obviously the Gigalith is on my opponent's team. That's a Pokemon I definitely want to analyze and maybe even try out because I think Gigalith's really good, especially because it gets access to Heavy Slam, which does just a ton of damage and picks up knockouts. So, we'll see how this goes. But, yeah, like I said, I don't know what some of my opponent's Pokemon even do. So, like, you can expect that in a month I will be much more experienced and pretty much know what all the Pokemon do, but maybe not even, honestly, because VGC 2017 is a format where, like, everything is just so darn open. But, fortunately, we will be able to learn a little bit from our in-game tools, because it actually does tell you the typing, so just gonna check everything on Minior's typing. And yeah, Minior does, what is that, White Earth? So I'm guessing that's for Shell Smash, but instead I just negated it with Intimidate, which is kind of funny. Rock Flying, okay. I could just Draco that slot. I'm Trick Rooming and Dracoing Minior, yeah. You might have HP Ice on Alakazam, but that's okay. Nope, just goes for a Psychic. You should have knocked me out. Yeah, cool. And Draco hits. Maybe could have Dragon Pulsed, but I wanted to see if this could knock out. We know he's not sashed or anything. Rip Minior. And I get the Trick Room up, which is also perfect because now Alakazam's the slowest Pokemon on the field. So, the Salamence Oranguru lead really coming in right now, coming in handy. And this really takes me back to 2014, and did I use Salamence in 2015? Yeah, I used Mega Salamence. Both those years I used, in 2014 Worlds I used Salamence and got the Tell. 2013 Worlds I used Landorus Cresselia. 2015 Mega Salamence, got the Tell. Okay, Palo Sand. I have no idea what you do, so I will figure that out. Ghost and Ground, yep, that's not much of a surprise. Now, I'm not too worried because I assume it's going to be slow, but that's fine. Ghost doesn't really touch Oranguru at all because I do have the normal typing, and I've got the Torkoal in the back, so I'm just going to sacrifice my Salamence here. Presumably, unless for some reason the Sandcastle is really fast. He's going for Amnesia, okay. Could actually be scary. Especially because I'm mainly... Oh, I have Tapu Bulu, so I should be fine. Psychic still does a good amount there, too. Draco's just going to come out on target Alakazam. Those frame drops, though, jeez. Hopefully Alakazam just knocks out my Salamence so I get the free switch in. Psychic coming out. Yeah. I don't think Alakazam's that viable in this format, but there's always a niche for it. I remember using Mega Alakazam with Hibiki's team a while back. And yeah, I'm just going to switch in Torkoal now on Eruption twice. Given that even with the Amnesia boost, Psychic did like 25%, I think 2 Eruptions could knock it out outright. And even if or not Gallspot, that's not Gallspot, that's the Sandcastle, even if that knocks out Palo Sand, even if that knocks out Torkoal, then I'll just get the free switch in into whatever. I really don't know how fast it is though, but Torkoal's base 20 and min speed. Could be slower, but nah. Okay, so Eruption's just gonna come out, and the second one is gonna be single target thanks to Instruct. Yeah, so pretty clean sweep here, I think. Well, actually, no, yeah, he's gonna be faster. Oops, I should have remembered that. But I am able to survive. The second and special defense decrease. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind with Instruct, which I actually didn't for this term. I should have probably Heat Wave there instead. Yeah, like, normally, because with Trick Room, you're just, like, kind of in the mindset where it's like, oh, all I have to do is attack once with Torkoal and then Instruct again. But because Oranguru's base speed actually isn't that low, as Gigalith's actually my opponent's last Pokemon, okay. I should check the speeds. I think Tapu Bulu will outspeed these under Trick Room. I'm gonna Instruct Heat Wave here. Maybe I should double protect actually. And the handy thing about this game is it tells you how many turns of Trick Room. So I'm actually going to double protect here. Because, yeah, what that allows me to do is, if I knock out the Palisand, I win the game. I'm not knocking out Gigalith right now, not with Torkoal at least. So I misplayed a little bit last turn. I should have Heat Waved instead, because Palisand I, just assumed should have been slower than a Ranguru, meaning would have gotten an attack off. I got a little bit too trigger happy there. Of course, if you Heat Wave, you risk missing, but, like, I don't know. I guess it's a trade-off, but if you're not gonna miss, I shouldn't say that's Pokemon. You can miss 4 Heat Waves. Nope. Okay, so he's not protecting on his side. Let's see. Stone Edge onto Torkoal. Oh god. What does that do? Oh, it's a healing move. Yeah. Oh boy. Cybertron gets wrecked live. That's fine. I'm gonna instruct Heat Wave. And then I think Tapu Bulu can still close out this game. Oh, why did I instruct? He's gonna knock me out beforehand. Should have Psychicked. Might be. Why is he? Oh, Stone Edging a Ranguru. Okay. Wow. So I am gonna get this Heat Wave off. Never mind. My opponent making me look a little bit smarter. I suppose that's why. Because Psychic's not doing too much against these guys anyway. I should faint from Sandstorm though, which is actually okay, because then I get to switch it into Tapu Bulu. Yeah. And I assume Tapu Bulu is going to outspeed these guys. It's lefties, Gigalith. Huh, you don't say that every day. That's Trick Room expires. Perfect. Which is why I was double protecting and doing all that shenanigan. Although I don't know who's faster between my Ranger and Tapu Bulu. I believe I EV'd my Tapu Bulu to be in speed. But Grassy Surge coming out. And let's see. Can either of them have an attack to knock me out, really? We've seen what? Amnesia, Earth Power, the healing move. It's just Stone Edge from Gigalith. Yeah, I'm gonna check their speeds real quick. 72. My spreads are not very elaborate. 65. Okay, perfect. So that means I can just instruct Tapu Bulu. Instruct. And... yeah, just Wood Hammer. Yeah. Okay, so that could have been bad if Gigalith protected. Because if Gigalith protects there, then Instruct just targets the same spot, I believe. But now should just be able to close out the game. Yeah, nice. I think my spread is just 252 for the Tapu Bulu. I'll do a team analysis on this team once I'm done with it on Road to Rank. I'll probably switch to a new team next week. But yeah, learned a lot about Palossand there in this game. Learned that I can heal, that it outspeeds Saranguru under Trick Room, which isn't much of a surprise. Like, with all the new Gen 7 Pokemon, I'm like, okay, it's probably pretty slow. But that's one of the nice things about using Torkoal. You know you're going to pretty much outslow everything. So that's nice. So we do pick up 3 wins in today's episode. Not the cleanest of wins in this last one, but no, I definitely learned a lot. And yeah, I feel like that Pokemon can definitely be a pretty big threat. Gigalith I still think is a really solid option, especially because it counters Weather and Torkoal's, namely, very, very nicely. So we do pick up 3 wins in this one, and yeah, just learning so much as I go along with it. So, you kind of saw Nubertron there in the end, just not knowing what the heck that Sandcastle did, but I did learn that Pokemon's name, and Minior kind of just got obliterated from that match as well. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to also leave comments on what individual Pokemon analyses you'd like to see, since I really, really want to get started with that. Like I said, have been sick, but am pretty much almost over it. So yeah, really want to get on that as well. But yeah, thank you for watching this one, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.